A couple of days ago, I did this Reddit post where this young lady, she told her mother that she didn't want to be her daughter anymore, that she wanted to be her son because of how drastically different she was treated versus her brothers. And this resonated with so many women in my comments section. And, talking about how women, daughters, are parentified and how that is impacting their decisions whether or not they want to have children. Then I came across this essay from this woman, Leslie Voris. She said, "When I was 14, I helped my parents take care of foster kids. Now I'm child free by choice." And there were so many women. There are a lot of women who are child free by choice because they were forced to be parents by their parents. And that is a lane, that's a talking point that's not being examined by, these people that are talking about the birth rate and everything. How many women are just opting out of having babies simply because their parents made them raise kids? All right, so let's do this essay from Leslie. She says, "My parents adopted me when I was 6 years old after fostering me and always kept our home open to 4 foster children, many with special needs. When I was a young teenager, my mother's health began deteriorating with early signs of Alzheimer's. While my father's lung cancer returned, I had to step up and help out. I took care of a newborn boy. I was at an age when I still needed a mother, but I had to worry about coaxing picky eaters and rocking babies instead of homework. In class, I'd fight to keep my eyes open, and at home, I'd have textbooks propped against against a sleeping infant in my arms. One little boy came to us as a newborn. For months, I was the one to soothe him and celebrate his first smile, his first steps. Unlike my friends who later eased into parenthood with 9 months of preparation, I was thrust into caregiving with little warning. Is he yours? The cashier asked one day, eyeing the baby in my shopping cart. I hesitated before answering, yes, he is. It wasn't a lie, but it wasn't the whole truth either. He became my constant companion. We danced to Benny Goodman records and the Beatles and read Little Golden books every night until he fell asleep. The day he left, I dressed him in a tiny gray suit I carefully picked out, slightly too big, a silent wish for him to grow into it, to grow into a full life of love and opportunity. I'd stay up late studying after the little ones were asleep, after nights of soothing, feverish babies. The children never called me mommy. Instead, they called me by my name or adorable mispronunciations of it. I would sometimes be called Lassie or Nestle, each version a reminder of our unique bond. I'm child-free by choice. I'm not a mother in the traditional sense. I've never given birth or adopted, yet for a significant part of my life, I became a mother to dozens of children who needed one, even just for a little while. Now, decades later, people ask me why my home is empty. It surprises some people. My Facebook and Instagram feeds are filled with photos of friends' children's milestones. Some have children heading off to college, while others have little ones just starting to walk. Sometimes I feel ostracized when forging friendships with other women. There's pity in their eyes. Some judge openly, others more discreetly, thinking I must possess some harsher character defect or that I'm not a good person. But I'm filled with the richness of my multitude of experiences. Being child-free has allowed me to produce films, write, travel the world, and pursue several careers. My milestones are different, but they're mine. Now, when I discuss motherhood with other women, they assume I'm a mother. I've had sleepless nights and worried sick over fevers. I felt the joy of first words and first steps. But when they ask about my kids, I stumble. How do I explain that my children are everywhere? Sometimes I find myself studying strangers' faces, wondering whether that person could be one of my children all grown up. I sometimes wonder whether I've missed out on an integral part of womanhood. I'm acutely aware of what middle of the night bottle feedings feel like, of those precious first smiles. I know the deep joys, but more importantly, I understand the weight of commitment and responsibility it entails. My house may be empty, but my heart is full of the children who made me whole. I thought that that was a compelling essay, and I thought that that would be the perfect segue to talk about some of the experiences of other women on my post and they were definitely talking on my post. Many women who are forced into the role of mother are pushing back and saying, I'm good. Vanna Phil says, firstborn daughter, no kids and happy. Lizzie says, firstborn daughter here. I moved hours away and never had kids. I'm very happy, but my parents aren't. Kate says, I moved to the opposite side of the planet. No kids either. Here for a good time, not a long time says, I kept family at arm's length as well. I enjoy my peace. Millie says, first daughter here, was left alone with a baby and younger siblings all the time. My mom lived her best life, her best single life. Joyce says, I stopped interacting with this dynamic. I have 4 brothers and she calls me selfish for being career driven and my brothers work from home. Claire says, not firstborn and only daughter, similar treatment. I moved to another country. Similar treatment in that the girls basically have to do so much more in the households, like the servant of the house. Chance says, I completely understand. I joined the army at 17 to get away. Mama Red says, many of these so-called parents are jealous of their own kids. They will sabotage your childhood and life because it's the same thing they were put through in their childhood. Katie says, I'm a firstborn daughter, and I remember both of my parents sitting me down at age 8, telling me I had to learn how to manage a household. My older brother was never expected to do anything. I raised my younger sister. I had so much stress between that and all of the abuse that I endured that my parents didn't know about, that I was constantly sick. Never had kids, and I don't plan on having them. So that is what some of these women were saying on my TikTok page. Sunflower's Journey says, I'm a firstborn daughter and the oldest of 10. I'll be 28 next year and I never want children. I like my freedom and I want to live my life on my own terms. I finally get to be selfish and never giving this up. My stress levels are down and I'm feeling happy as ever since I have set healthy boundaries. It's not selfish. You were robbed of a childhood. This is not selfish to take some time for yourself. CBC says, I feel so much happiness when I read Parentified Child, especially a daughter, escape or set up healthy boundaries, live your best life. Ife says, every time I see parents talk about how great it is to have a large family, I wonder what the older children think about it, especially the oldest daughter. D64 says, there is not a single selfish part in any of that, and never let anyone tell you otherwise. You get to love your life any damn way you choose, so long as you aren't harming others. You owe nothing to no one else. Jeannie says, my mother ran out when I was 11 and my brother was 8. I was the de facto woman of the house. I was put in charge of cleaning, cooking, and raising my brother while Dad worked. My brother had chores, but if they didn't get done, I got in trouble. So I just did them rather than fight about it constantly. Dad would come home and be pissed if things weren't spotless and would claim to have a very sensitive nose when it came to kitchen spills. Fast forward 10 years. I came home from college for a 3-week break to spoiled milk in the fridge that I purchased 4 months earlier, a trail of spilled coffee from the kitchen to the front door, ants in the dog's food bowl, laundry and garbage bags by the door. The washing machine was in pieces from him trying to fix it and never having enough time, and a bathroom that was so gross I wouldn't use it. Yeah, he was so particular when I was a kid, but couldn't be bothered once I was gone. The first thing he asked me after stowing my luggage in the guest room that did not have a bed, his plan was I'd crash on the couch, was, when do you think you'll have dinner done? I grabbed my bags, thanked him from the ride from the airport, and called friends to come get me. Stayed with other family through the holiday, then went back to school and didn't go home again. He eventually hired my aunts to come clean, and they charged him through the nose. Good for you, Jeannie. Sea Snow says, oldest daughter. Say no more, fam. I know where this is going. You don't even have to have siblings. I was an oldest only daughter and was left to raise myself. I used to have to forge a parent's signature on my assignments because no adult was around willing to engage with me. When my brother came along as a teenager, guess what they tried? It didn't work. And now I'm child-free. Cue the familial screeching about bloodlines and legacies. This needs to be talked about, because so many parents are jacking up their kids. Natasha C says, I'm the oldest daughter of 5, and damn, was I raised like an employee more than a daughter. They tried to guilt trip me by saying I abandoned my kids. This was years ago, and I am much older than my siblings. Ma'am, these aren't my kids. I didn't birth them. Nick, like Nick, says, us first three, 13-year-old brother, 11-year-old me, 9-year-old sister. I put out our lunches together. I ironed our uniforms, cooked and cleaned after doing my homework, and stayed on merit roll in school. And by the time my baby brother turned 1.5, he called me mom. I'm 30 now with 2 fur babies. And now that I'm no longer renting, pending more fur babies. So more women not having children because of being servants of the Sweetly Dark Art says, yep, oldest daughter of 7 here, Mormon household. So it was beat into me to care for my siblings or get starved. There are 6 years between me and the next sibling, and then one new sibling every year after that for an idea of the age gaps. I was still changing diapers when I graduated high school. I finally fled as soon as I got into college, 9 hours away from them all. My siblings never developed a solid relationship with me. I was forced to be the third parent, so I know mentally they still see me like that and despise me for it to this day. I'm in my 40s now. I'll never have a relationship with any of them, so I'm at peace without them. I'll also never marry nor have kids because all of it just looked awful to me, no matter what. It might be the trauma, but I don't care anymore. So it sounds like this phenomenon might have to be studied. You know, we talk a lot about people opting out of childbirth and having babies because of the economy, because of food insecurity, because wages, because men not chipping in, and, patriarchy and politics and all of this. But I wonder how many women are opting out simply because they did enough parenting when they didn't actually birth any children. So it's going to be a whole lot of other sociological issues or mental issues, like stress of childhood and trauma that people went through. And they're like, nope, I'm good. So, like I said, this conversation definitely showed how much parentification and girls being seen as servants of the home has impacted them into adulthood. Join the conversation, share your story. Don't forget to like, comment,